Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about colour. Now it's not colour theory as such, it's more than that. Some time ago, back in vlog number 17, we did discuss colour and some colour theory while I was unpacking my Yarnsmith's yarn haul. I did a few combos for you and they really, got the chatter happening. I did talk about the colour wheel and just that common theory that doesn't really give us what we're yearning for. Okay, so here is the trusty colour wheel, which you've all seen. And I have to admit that I literally hate the primary colours. I much prefer colours that are joined together to make a different colour. Look, I think my hate comes from it just being the only option we have. Okay, so then some people will go into a little bit more detail about monochromatic, analogous, complementary, split complementary and triad. And these things are all true and real. I've got them here in my hand-dyed yarn to show you, but it's still not what we were talking about. If anything gets me excited, it is something like this, or yarn pegs, or just the balls of yarn that you put together to try and make out a colorway that makes you really happy. It makes you smile on the inside and the outside. But looking at all these colors, now that makes me happy. Which is why I found that buying my acrylic yarn from the United Kingdom was just heaven for me. Our Spotlight, which is our major crafting store in Australia, only has such limited colors in their acrylic, and I'm not fussed on their acrylic either. So if I wait till the yarn's on sale and pay $80 in shipping, it still actually works out cheaper for me to buy my yarn from the United Kingdom, from Paintbox, Stylecraft, or now Yarnsmiths as well. So I'm really happy about that. But yep, this one causes a little bit of excitement from my direction. Now, we all have very individual reasons for why we like or don't like certain colours. It has a lot to do with our environment, our childhood, our cultural aspects. There's so many different reasons. One of the very obvious ones to me is that a lot of the ladies on Instagram in our crochet community who live in the Northern Hemisphere, where they have grey, gloomy days quite often and they get snow and it's very cold, they absolutely love the bright colours. Now those bright colours that they choose look really pretty, but they're not the thing that excites my heart. Because I am sensitive and I live in a hot environment, I like colours that are more calm and are more muted. I don't need the bright yellows, the bright blues. Do you know what I'm getting at? I just need calming colours. So the same colours that they would like, but a little bit of brown or a little bit of grey added to it to mute them down. After watching my vlog number 17, we all had agreed that finding that colour that we love happens when, if you're looking at a colour and you're either smiling on the inside of your mind or smiling in real life, just sitting there by yourself grinning, or you get this smiling feeling in your chest. And you start with that one colour and add other colours to it. And this has absolutely nothing to do with colour theory or the colour wheel. It's about how you feel. Then one of the ladies wrote me a note and said, how do we describe that feeling, Jill? And I said, that's something I also would like to know. So I started watching some YouTube videos about colour, and I was still just getting more and more about this theory business. There just wasn't any colour from the heart, except if I popped in, colour from the heart, I got a lot of Zen information and the chakras and the colours that the chakras were, but that also is not what we're talking about either. Then there are a lot of childhood biases to overcome. One is maybe the way your mum decorated the family home, or the colour of the clothes that she made you wear, or the colour that she wore that you saw all the time. Maybe you gravitated towards those and maybe you didn't. But then there's this other absolute bullshit that we just got from the nuns at school saying blue and green should never be seen unless there's a colour in between. Now, as a young girl, I questioned teachers a lot. I would sit there and I would think, you guys are mad. Like, what are you talking about? Take a look outside. The sky and all the greenery on the trees and in our nature, they go together. So why would someone make this up? Blue and green should never be seen without a colour in between. As a young child, you've really got it going uphill if you are creative, and in your teens you discover that you might like to investigate colour and the reason that you like it. You have to wade through all those things that we were told that really are not true. Goodness knows why that happened. If you know, tell me, because I don't know. As I said before, psychologists will explain what effect they think that colour will have on the person's psyche or behaviour. And again, I totally disagree with that, because I read through them and those colours do not have that effect on me. And I can't be alone there. I'm sure there's lots of you who would feel the same way. Like, maybe that's a majority rule, but it's certainly not for everybody. Have you heard of the company called Pantone? Well, if you haven't, Pantone is a word that was combined by the word pan, meaning all, with the word tone, meaning colour. So it's a company that has become the worldwide standard for selecting, communicating and matching colours. And this year's colour, the Pantone colour of the year, is a mocha mousse. I think it's more this Stylecraft colour because the paint box one has a bit of gold through that. Now, you probably don't know me well enough yet, but I absolutely adore brown. Brown is my favourite colour. Now, there's an issue. With studies being done, brown is the least liked colour in the whole world. Can you believe that? So it's no wonder that I feel left out when I show the work that I make, and it's always got some sort of brown in it, and I'm just not in the popular group. That's okay. The second most disliked colour in the world is orange. Oh, would you look at that? Another colour that I really love. I love orange ochre. I love red ochre. It reminds me of Ayers Rock. It reminds me of the Aboriginal paintings that we see around traditional sites throughout our country. Orange and brown are beautiful to me. So I bet you can guess what the most popular colour in the world is. Of course, it's blue. Now, when I'm dyeing my yarn and I have my little sails, I do a little bit of blue, but mostly greens, because you wouldn't think it would matter in the process of creating the hand-dyed yarn what colour you use, but it really does. I balk with the blue. It doesn't come naturally to me like the others do, that I can just sprinkle things around. Turns out looking lovely and I'm really happy with it. Blue is an effort for me, and my ladies are often asking for more blue please, more purple please. So they're the two colours that I use the least. But my temperature blanket this year is lilac-ish, purple-ish, grey, another colour that I have trouble using because I wanted to stash bust and use some of those yarns up that have been sitting there for quite some years. So I decided to ask my Instagram friends what they thought about colour and how it makes them feel. I tried to explain that we're looking for a certain aspect to colour that makes us feel just so good inside that it just makes us happy. We actually love it. We are in love with these colours. These are the answers that we got. One is Soul Sore Shades. So there you have it, relating to the soul and how it feels. Your Heart Song. And again, there's that heart feeling that comes from in the chest. There were a few answers of aura. Now, I certainly can feel people's auras, whether I'm looking at them or not. If I'm standing behind them, I can feel it. I can feel not so good ones and I can feel really good ones. And then I can also feel when they're one of those people that just get me. I don't feel auras see auras in colour. I have a feeling about auras. But others of you do have aura in colour. Another one is intuitive expression. That's a really good answer. Again, intuitive, it just comes to you and it works its way from the inside out. So you are expressing it by creating with the colour from within. There's a Welsh word called HWYL. Will? I don't know how you say it, but it means passion about colour. And that's what we're talking about. There were two more people who said intuition. Another one said connection. Yes, very much. We connect to those colours that we love. Another one said aura and synesthesia, which I'm going to go into a little bit deeper. And another one said heart hues. So they were really on the mark by using these chest, heart, soul feelings. Now, this concept called synesthesia, I had not heard it before, so I went and looked it up. Lo and behold, I experience synesthesia, as do a lot of people who are on the autism Asperger's spectrum. Each time I do one of the ASD tests online, I always rate very highly on the Asperger's scale. And that over the years has really helped me to understand my behaviour, to understand the way I think different to other people, to understand so many things. It's a real eye-opener when you realise that that's what you are. And it's great. I'm fine with it. I love being an Aspie, and I've found lots and lots of Aspie friends on here with you because this is where we need to be. Anyway, this synesthesia is a perceptual phenomenon where the stimulation of one sensory pathway in the brain triggers an involuntary experience in another sensory pathway. So essentially, two sensory pathways are being used when only one needed to. Therefore, you experience some rather strange things. Now, people taste colour, and that is me. not many colours. I've only tasted a few and I can't even explain what they taste like, but it's a feeling that comes in my eyes, through my brain, into my mouth. You can feel sounds. I don't do that. A lot of musical artists will see colour with the notes of their music. Some may see letters as having colour, and some may see each day of the week as a colour. There's all sorts of examples, but essentially the brain is activating 2 sensory or more pathways at the one time. I wonder if any of you have experienced this same thing too. So myself and the lady who wrote this one up on Instagram both wonder if synesthesia isn't the thing that we're feeling in our heart towards a colour. It could be. An article I read about falling in love with colour reiterates the fact that the only thing matters about how we feel about colour is the way that it makes us feel. And that was basically the crux of my vlog number 17, was all that I could come up with to explain that way that we feel. So I still haven't been able to offer you that answer. If you know it, you know the feeling that myself and other ladies are trying to describe. But I will certainly keep my eyes out, and I'll certainly watch and read a little more to see if one day we can get to the bottom of this particular question. So now I'm just going to show you some of the yarn I've dyed by hand, and at the time I would never have thought that they would relate to this, but when you look, they really do. This one, green and yellow, is called analogous. So they're next to each other on the colour wheel. And would you look at that? These two, being warm colours, have yellow, orange and red on the colour wheel. But I'd like to know where the brown, grey, black and white is. Because that's got to come into it somewhere, hasn't it? Again, more warm colour, yellow, orange and red. I am definitely a warm colour lover. That I do know. These two are a triad. They have 3 colours equally spaced on the wheel, being blue, yellow, reddy orange. Yep, the red's there. These 3 are analogous because they are next to each other on the colour wheel. Green, yellowish, orange, red. Look at that. Another analogous set, because we've got red, orange, not so much yellow, but then we go into the green. So here's me thinking I don't use the colour wheel, and I absolutely do. It's just the different shades, tones and hues that I love, instead of just these straight out primary colours. These ones are complementary because you've got yellow on one side, purple on the other, and you've had pink develop in the middle. Here we have analogous again because we've got blue and green, which are next to each other on the colour wheel. I just don't know where brown comes in. There's very pale green there. Anyway, the blue and green is certainly together without something in between. I apologise that I haven't found the answers that we were looking for, but I'm sure in time I will come across it, you might come across it, or it may come across us. If so, I'll be sure to let you know. Okay, everybody, talk to you again really soon. Bye for now.